Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the One Shot Podcast. My name is Chris Famularo. Joining me today, we have Robert Ruszkowski, Christian Gardner, and Valentino Nicholas Petrarca. For some reason, we're going to call him Val. How's everybody doing? Starting with Christian.
I'm doing fantastic. I had a marathon of Todd Burrow's finals to do last week, got them in, and now I'm just here at home, even though I have more work to do, but I'm happy to be here.
Straight vibing. Rob, what about you?
I'm doing well. Just got home from work. I'm leading in fantasy right now. Life's going pretty good right now. I'm glad to be on the podcast.
And Val.
I'm hunky-dory. Now, I just did an interview with a band, Dragged Under. So, they're really big in the metalcore scene. That was an awesome interview. Really weird changes, right before the interview, but, we ran with it, and it's awesome. This week has been rough, though. It's finals week for all of us, so we've been struggling.
All of us, yeah.
Every single one of us. We've all been struggling. Yeah, that's one thing. That's one thing that's pretty nice is not having to take tests anymore.
Do you know what
Could
else
never
is
be
nice?
me, right, Christian?
Bro, this is just straight pain. Fine.
Well, guys, it'll all pay off because in about 8 months you'll get this letter that says you made the dean's list for last year. This came in the mail today.
Dude,
I got mine too.
I got mine today.
It's really good to know that in December that I made the dean's list for last year, and it's encouraging me to join clubs such as Pirate TV, WSOU, and as a person who graduated about 6 months ago, I'm very excited to get involved with those.
I'm excited to reach out and start communicating with them.
Exactly.
I brought
Val.
my
in my post-graduation.
Val has
I got
his
mine
own
today
too.
I got mine today too. Today.
Rob,
yeah.
you know what we could pull out that they don't have?
I don't know
about
what
a
I'm
flex
pulling
right
out.
now.
I don't have a lot of props
Social
here.
life?
I
Oh,
don't have my
wow.
diploma either.
Then I'm just flexing on every
I have my
single
diploma. I don't have
one
a
of
diploma
you.
holder because I never got a graduation because
But you don't have your dorm key from sophomore year.
I don't. Why do you still have that sophomore year?
Listen, I had my student ID that could still swipe me into the edit lab, so
I hope the building manager for what was it, X isn't watching because he's gonna track you down.
Oh yeah.
Not Reggie.
Not Reggie.
okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'm guessing all of you are on break. I'm just gonna ask, how was everybody's Thanksgiving? Did you do anything fun?
Yeah.
I mean,
COVID? Well, what is this, a
Oh.
trick question? Governor Cuomo, is that you?
Well,
Phil
Rob,
Murphy, take off that mask.
Rob, it's actually pretty funny we ask you because you live on that dumpster heap that is Staten Island.
Listen, man, I don't want to get started with this. Okay,
do you really not want to get into it? Because I kind of want to talk about it.
I'm ready. Let's go. I've been following.
So for the outside
all the
viewer,
facts.
so for the outside viewer's perspective, if I could break down the timeline, Governor Cuomo put in effect, right, to have bars close after 10 p.m., I think.
Yes, and that depending on what zone you were in, I think that the aforementioned bar in question was in the orange zone, so you can't have any indoor dining.
So this bar owner decided to say, "Screw you, Governor Cuomo," and
and De Blasio, don't forget De Blasio.
And De Blasio. He made his own restaurant an autonomous zone, meaning that he wasn't going to abide by any laws and regulations put upon his establishment.
Meaning he put duct tape on the floor and a couple posters in the window.
Who would have thought that the owner of the Orange Note would have been, not conforming to COVID? Is that the name of the bar?
No.
Wait, what's the name of the bar?
Max Public House.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I heard
it's in the orange zone. There's red zones, there's orange zones, there's yellow zones, and he's in the.
Oh, great stuff. I was about to roast the name of the bar for being called the Orange Note, and then
it's Max Public House because the owner is Irish. And they made public our national news at this point because of their rejection of the laws, and then there's big rallies by the Staten Island Republicans.
Well, and then the bar owner got arrested.
The bar owner got arrested for apparently trespassing on his own property. He was detained. He was released. And then new news is that last night when he was going to be arrested again, he actually hit a police officer with his car. The police officer broke both of his legs and he's now got rearrested for assaulting an officer. And this is brand new information because Apparently,
You're telling me we're breaking news on One Shot?
no,
Podcast?
we're not breaking news. It's been out for a day or so.
Max is a
going
real
to be released.
stinker.
Because by the time this is released, there might be new events with it. But this is the biggest story on Staten Island since they closed the dump. I mean, I'm telling you, this is bigger than the pizza rats over here. Okay, this is.
Yeah.
Pizza Rat Staten Island. I'm gonna be honest. I only know like 5 things about Staten Island. 1, Robert Ruszkowski.
Of course.
2, the Wu-Tang Clan. 3, throw it up. 3, Trash Island.
Trash
or something
Island,
like that.
Stinking
And then
Dumpsterland.
Dumpsterland. Sure.
I know it's in New York.
That's a good one, Val. That's a good one.
That is a good one.
Yeah.
But Rob, you said it's not number 5 of the boroughs. It's number 4 now.
It's number 4, and the reason for that is because our very own Colin Jost just recently got married to Scarlett Johansson. So in my personal rankings of the 5 New York boroughs, we actually bumped ahead of Queens ever so slightly. We were going to be third. We were going to be third when Pete Davidson was going to marry Ariana Grande, but someone had to fumble the bag on that, so we dropped back down.
How the F does Staten Island go above Queens?
Because they have the Mets and that's it. And
you don't even have the Staten Island Yankees anymore.
We don't. Okay, I was going to mention it to Christian to break his heart, but the Pizza Rats are no more. They officially got disbanded this year. The team doesn't exist anymore. In my heart, will always be number 4.
Wait.
Will always be number 4.
The Pizza Rats are like a band?
No. The Pizza Rats were the alter ego of the Staten Island Yankees.
Val is like when you bring someone in who has only one ear and that ear works half of the time.
Yeah, because when you said the Pizza Rats, I thought you meant like the meme of the rat carrying the pizza in the subway,
That's what you would think. So Staten Island, being the genius marketing ideas that they have, decided to rename the Staten Island Yankees, which is a classic, minor league affiliate of the New York Yankees, into the Staten Island Pizza Rats, where their logo is a rat with the chef's hat and an apron holding a slice of pizza over his shoulders. And I loved it.
Sounds a lot like Chuck E. Cheese.
All right. It, and I loved it.
It's unfiltered opinion. Sounds a lot like Chuck E. Cheese fan fiction is what it sounds like in my head.
I was going to go Ratatouille, but yeah, you could go right for Charles Entertainment Cheese,
All right,
which is another rat that's struggling.
Rats.
Yeah.
Would you go Pasquale of Charles Entertainment Cheese? You would think he's not the Charles and Charles Entertainment Cheese?
Chucky.
Chuck the
Who's
Rat.
Pasquale?
Oh, and that's a different character
band?
in the Chuck E. Cheese
probably in the
universe
band.
or whatever. Yeah.
Anyway, but in a fight, are you taking Remi or Chuck E. Cheese?
That's good. I'm going to have to go with Chuck E. Cheese because I think he just has mutated over the years from the ball pit and just the various diseases that he's completely immune to everything at this point, whereas Remi only knows fine dining and breathing and has given and has let go of his way of the past of being a garbage rat and has now fully embraced the Michelin star lifestyle.
Yeah, but you also have to take into consideration that Remi controlled a human man.
But at the same time,
Chuck the Rat just took the body of one and then started stealing children.
Chuck E. Cheese has elbow pads and a backwards cap. You don't want to mess with that.
Okay, but have you seen new renditions of Chuck the Rat? He looks like a skinny little skater boy.
He's also life-size. I don't know if you've seen him in comparison, but he is the size of a small child, if not an adult at times.
I will say this. I'm really happy.
I've seen the guy in the costume, okay? I mean, that is a life-size
You're telling me you weren't the guy inside Chuck E. Cheese?
I can neither confirm nor deny that I was Chuck E. Cheese.
Well, I was the guy in Chuck E. Cheese, but I wasn't in the costume. No, I'm joking. I'm actually really happy to hear you say that, Rob, because I'm gonna pick Charles Entertainment Cheese because I feel like he's just burning with STDs. Like it's not like that rat is on fire. Like I just feel like everything it touches is disease ridden.
Like, go there, but yeah.
Like I feel like the spread of COVID was just that rat farting. Like honest to God,
it's actually the epicenter. The CDC just released something that actually had nothing to do with Wuhan. It actually came from the ball pit at a Chuck E. Cheese, and just from there it was just like wildfire.
And Chris Fram says, "Oh, the new one's a skinny, scrawny skater boy." It's because the old one there was almost an Ebola outbreak, and they had to assassinate him immediately. And now we've got the new Charles Entertainment skater boy.
You know what's crazy about 2020? There was another Ebola outbreak and it wasn't even covered.
Yeah, I didn't even know about that either.
Where was it?
In Africa.
Wow.
where
scary.
the previous outbreak happened.
So, fam, I'm
Oh,
not sure if you
cool.
mentioned who do you think would win in a fight, Remy or Chuck E. Cheese?
See, this is a good question.
It is a good one.
question.
It's
I would like to say Remy solely because he was a street rat and like the dude survived like shotgun shells being fired at him, and then he was like, you know what, I got to survive and climb the social ladder. So let me work myself into a 5-star Michelin restaurant by
I feel like I
controlling
think
a
you're right
human.
there. I think he has connections.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like also I've never
killed an
seen
army,
other
but-
rats hang out with Chuck E. Cheese. At least with Remy, he's got
'Cause he
the
killed
other
them all.
rats.
He already beat them all.
True,
It was
he is
a-
the rat
yeah.
king.
Yes.
What the hell?
He's the rat king.
You're telling me there's no other rats in Chuck E. Cheese's band?
Why are there no crabs in SpongeBob? Because he killed them all.
Good point. That's a good point.
He ate them all.
It's a Krabby Patty secret formula.
Did you
Crab
guys
Patty
see?
secret formula.
Did you guys see the SpongeBob anime
Yes.
on YouTube?
Yes.
Is it good?
Oh, it's only the one episode for right now, right?
I think so.
It's a long episode, but it's dubbed and subbed, so you can have your pick. I personally prefer the subbed.
You gotta go
just
traditional,
because
man.
of
If
its,
you want the true
yeah,
experience,
you gotta go traditional. You gotta go, the way it was meant to be, the way they intended it to be.
Subbed. Subbed. Oh
I
God.
mean, for all you out there who have not seen it, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Mhm.
I encourage you. Stop watching the podcast right now. Just close out. Just
Okay, well,
tab.
no, don't close out the tab.
And just
Open
go- no,
another
close it.
tab. Open another tab and watch it.
Concurrently.
But
Yes,
in
you
the
know,
in the comments, do type which rat you think would win.
Oh,
Like,
true. Yeah, you know what?
that
In
is
the
something
comments,
we
let
should
us
do,
know.
yes.
Let us know which
Let us
Chuck E.
know.
Cheese, and then we'll visit back for next week, and we'll go over the results of
Yeah.
who will win. Chuck
I'm
E.
not saying
Cheese
if you
versus Remy.
I'm not saying if you choose Ratatouille, you're wrong, but I think at the end
His
of
name
the
is
day,
Remy.
Well, then what's Ratatouille?
It's Frankenstein's monster. Not
Ratatouille is the
Frankenstein.
dish.
That's
He makes
stupid.
ratatouille.
Oh.
Why would they name a dish?
Oh, because it's got rat in it. Is that the pun?
No.
Is that the joke?
Is that the joke?
Is that why it's called a Krabby Patty?
No, but like Ratatouille. I'm sure that's got to be a factor into the marketing.
You know,
It's a
they might
French
have considered
word.
it. I think it has something to do with like cars, and the cars are in the movie. Like I think it's just one of those coincidences, Like there's Monsters and Monsters Inc. Like they kind of just happen and like, oh, that works,
Yeah.
I would love to think that in the making of Cars, they were just like, what are we going to call this movie?
It's a true story. The guy who's in charge of naming things got like $700,000 for coming up with the cars. Like it's someone's position to come up with the titles of movies, and he literally just came up with Cars, and they're like, yeah, I guess that kind of sums it up.
You know what's funny? That's funny you bring that up because like I love the idea of like really high up people in like brands and stuff. So I love that they have the weirdest titles like CEO of innovation and marketing for like a fast food place.
Yeah.
Like they always come up with like these long ass like really thought about names, and all they do is, yeah, we're gonna call that the pretzel bun burger, and everyone's like, phenomenal. Here's $800,000. Thank you so much.
Christmas bonus.
It'd be so funny if it was like the same guy, like, we're going to call the movie Cars. Well, what are we going to call Jack and Jill by Adam Sandler? Just oof, you know what I mean? Or just like, I'm sorry.
I actually don't think the guy from Pixar named that movie. He might have actually switched positions because of that. Like he might have got such a big bonus that he was offered the.
Yeah. That does beg the question. What's the worst movie you've ever seen in your whole life?
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, Val, we stumbled upon it while going through HBO Max. It's one of the great worst movies of all time.
Wow.
So it's basically a knockoff Kung Fu Panda called Panda Warrior. And the animation is terrible. And the storyline, so we go through the whole movie. We can't actually watch and sit through the full 2-hour thing because it's that bad. And we just fast forward to just get through the main storyline. They introduce characters all the way through the entire movie.
Yeah. But the best part is like there's no consistency in the tone. So it'll be like, gosh, I wish I were a real panda warrior. And then he like walks over to a cliff and goes, I'll see you soon, Grandpa, and just like falls forward. Just like out of nowhere, like stuff like that, where you're just like,
What?
where did that come from?
And
Sounds
the
like
craziest
some
thing
legit
is there's
stuff.
like actual people you kind of know in this movie. Like Norm Macdonald is in this movie.
Oh wow. Okay.
Rob Schneider plays the panda.
I mean, truly.
Wait, what animation studio was this?
Oh, I have no clue.
I'm not
The
sure.
Rob Schneider Animation Studio. It was on his laptop using Microsoft 98.
It
The
kind of
export.
feels like it, not gonna lie.
Yeah, that was a wild movie.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm trying to think of like the worst movie that I have ever seen.
I have my answer.
Is it not Warrior Panda?
I think there's one movie personally for me that I think is worse. Just one.
Okay.
And the reason I think it's worse is because when I was a kid, I read the book and I loved the book. Where the Wild Things Are.
Oh, you don't like that
Really?
movie?
Oh, I hate that movie. I can't stand it. I just like
Some things are meant to be a 10-page children's book, like
Yeah.
the adaptation to a 2-hour movie just doesn't translate.
the reason I hated it was just like we got to build a nest. You know what I mean? It just felt like it was just so weird
There's
moments
subliminal
like that.
messaging
Wait,
for
did
children
you-
to build nests around
Did
the
you
world.
guys ever hear about how Where the Wild Things Are was supposed to be a book called Where the Horses Are? And the
No.
author was so bad at drawing horses that
I've never heard of that,
he or
actually.
she changed the title to Where the Wild Things Are because they couldn't draw a horse.
Oh my god, that honestly makes me love that book even more.
That's so great.
Like it makes sense. Like that. Like that's almost a thing like you wouldn't be able to make up. And I have heard of like things like that before, where some people just can't draw like certain, objects or animals, so they just scrap it. And they're like, "You know what? It's a dog now. That's it." And I would love for the pitch meeting to be like they brought the actual like drawings of horses, and they're like, and the publisher's like, "Oh, these are monsters, yeah," and it's like, "Yeah,
Monsters, right?
yeah."
What's
Where
the,
the Wild
what's the working title? They look like crazy wild things, and they just closed the fucking book with Where the Horses Are.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so funny.
Yeah.
All right,
Oh, also-
well, go ahead, Val.
Oh no, just another thing I hated about that movie was there was like weird, stupid moments like I'm gonna eat you. Like it was just if they got weirdly like I don't know. They harped on the I'm gonna eat you so much that it just made me I saw it when I was 10 years old. I was like sexually unsafe watching that movie. Just like it was just like there were levels that were reached and it was just so stupid. And the kid was also like psychotic. Like he bit his mom. Like he bit her.
He
like in the
did,
book,
yeah.
in the book, he was just like, I'm upset. I'm gonna go to my room. But in the movie, he's just like, munching. It's just gross.
Munching.
I feel like someone famous directed that though. Like it's still a
Also,
well-known-
John Goodman voices one of the wild things in that movie.
John Goodman
Really?
is like one of my favorite actors of all time.
Me too, honestly.
He is solid. He is a solid actor.
Yeah.
Easily one of my favorite John Goodman performances of all time has to be him in The Big Lebowski, playing the Vietnam veteran.
So in case you were wondering, I actually just fact checked it. Spike Jonze directed the movie, which actually makes perfect sense now, because he's just so absurd. Like he's the director of Her and Being John Malkovich,
Oh.
stuff like that. So he kind of has that like vibe or theme going on, but I do not think he was the correct choice to direct a children's movie adaptation.
Probably not.
Maybe if I do like an
It went
auteur
just over the
analysis.
kid's head. I mean, maybe just over the kid's head.
You know what is
I
a-
haven't seen it since
You
I
know
was
what is a
10.
kids movie that I can still watch to this day and I love, and I feel like it really wasn't targeted for children.
Meet the Robinsons.
No, that is a good movie. I feel like it's targeted for children, but
It shouldn't have been, but it was.
Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, both Cloudy with
Really?
a Chance of Meatballs 1 and 2. I think those movies are hilarious.
Once again, based on like an 8-page children's book, and they're just like, you know what,
Yeah.
this could be an hour-and-a-half movie. I got it.
I love the scene where it's after the main character, he flies his little machine up into space and he's just all sad because it didn't work, and then just in the background you just see Mr. T's cop sprinting towards him, and it is
I
just
forgot
the
that Mr. T
funniest thing.
voiced him. I forgot that Mr. T
Yeah,
voice.
Mr.
But yeah,
T.
I do think that
if
movie
you
has.
if you look at that cast, it's crazy. It has Anna Faris. It
I have
has
not actually
Mr.
looked at
Wow.
T. It has Andy Samberg. It has who plays somebody else
Neil
famous
Patrick
plays like
Harris is in it.
Neil Patrick Harris is in it. Somebody
Will
hilarious
Forte,
plays
Mr. T, like you
plays the
said.
bully.
Bill Hader.
Bill Hader. Oh right, Andy Samberg plays plays the bully, and Bill Hader plays the main character.
Al Roker's in it. I guess
Oh,
you
as the
need a
newscaster.
weatherman.
I think those movies are
You're an actual
hilarious.
weatherman to be a
Thompson.
movie about.
Bobby J. Thompson, he played Cal.
I knew he played someone, but I didn't know who, so I didn't want to mention him. But yeah, I mean, they really went all out for that casting. But like you were saying, like I do think it appeals to kids because of like the colors and the absurdity of it, but also like there's a lot of Easter eggs, a lot of hidden jokes, and they're not necessarily dirty jokes, but they are things that when you're older you appreciate them. So I do think that it has that as well, and it is a pretty good plot line. I mean, given it's not the greatest children's movie of all time, but there actually is a good father and son bond, and
Flint Lockwood.
as well. I've never seen the second one though, so I can't.
I also love when he's trying to impress Anna Faris's character. He just builds her a Jello castle, and they're just sitting
Who
there.
wouldn't want that? Who wouldn't want a Jello castle? Like,
I haven't seen
man.
the movie in years, but I remember just that scene of him holding his hand out, and then a burger flies into his hand, and that's
that's basically the whole movie. That's just.
I mean,
You
as a
gotta-
vegetarian, that's still like an end game of just being like, oh, cool,
Like Val, if a burger fell from the sky into your hand, would you eat it? Like, I think you
yeah.
have to.
At that point, if I don't eat it, I'm cursed, and I recognize that.
Well, in similar hilarious fashion, towards the end of that movie, before the machine starts going wrong, they have like a restaurant set up where there's no ceiling, and they just like let food fall from the sky. And there's just this one point where there's this couple eating dinner in the background, and this massive T-bone steak just slams into the table, and they just continue on like nothing went wrong.
I feel like that would be
funny.
perfect for COVID times because like there's no such thing as indoor dining if you just take out the ceiling.
No, but then all the food has COVID.
Maybe I was gonna say like if a burger fell from the sky into my hand, like I would wish that it kind of like was because of a food weather machine, but I'd probably think like, man, someone just opened the window on an airplane and like just threw a hamburger out the window and just landed perfectly in my hand intact.
This kind of reminds me of. Did you guys? I'm going to give an example, but growing up, did you ever have or hear about something that you thought was going to be like a way bigger or scarier problem, like as an adult? Like personally, okay, we'll get to it. But personally, mine is acid rain. Like it is in its name, it is something that sounds terrifying, and like I don't know what I would do if I experienced acid rain in real life. Like, what are you supposed to do?
Just die. You just and you just take it. You
just accept it. It's over.
Just accept your fate at that point.
In cartoons, you were supposed to see quicksand all the time.
I was gonna say quicksand. Like
I was gonna say quicksand.
One
ever.
Also,
and
my
like,
grandfather,
and even quicksand's like not as scary as like in the cartoons. Like you sink, but like it's not that fast.
My grandfather actually got trapped in quicksand once, and he told me about it. And that also perpetuates. And I'd see quicksand on TV in the cartoons. He'd be like, "Yo, that's real. Like, that's out there." Yeah,
it happens.
So that's why I wear socks at the beach. No, but yeah, it's you're right. Like, it is real. It's out there. But you are right also, Rob. That like it's not like it just consumes you. You don't just like go, like you know what I mean. Like it's a slow burn. If that's but
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're wearing Vans and socks, it can't get you.
It can't get you.
All right.
It cannot get you.
It can't. I also love the pictures. Christian and I went to North Carolina a while back, and I do actually wear socks on the beach. That is something that I genuinely do. I just don't like, I don't like feet. I don't like showing them off. I think it's weird. I don't know. I hate it. But they took Polaroids of the of the beach, and I was digging through them recently, and it's I realize how ridiculous I look now with just like almost like knee-high socks on the beach. Like it's not.
Don't regret a thing, Val.
No, I'm still gonna wear socks at the beach.
You look great.
That's Rob's one note for today. Don't regret a single thing.
Whatever you do, just do it. Just do it again.
Just do it.
So here's a color, not a color. Jesus, I almost gave it away.
Red.
Here's a question I have for you guys. I'm gonna give it away. I literally just gave away half the question. What color doesn't match its name?
All of them. I'm colorblind.
Val is colorblind, so.
Wait, Val, are you actually colorblind, or are you like one of those?
No, I'm just fake colorblind.
I learned that he was colorblind while we were playing Among Us, because I had like a red character and I called it blue, like as a joke, and he couldn't tell the difference. Like, right? Because are you?
I feel like this is a thing that should have come up back when I first.
I remember. I think you were green.
Because what kind of colorblind are you, Val?
All dark colors, like navy blue, dark brown, like all those just blur into one. And I remember I was like, I've learned to not trust my words sometimes because I'm like, that's green. And people go, no, it's not. They get all like offended for some reason.
Yeah, because he was wearing like a purple or like a pink shirt and he thought it was a completely different color. We're like, no, Val, like that's.
No, exactly. And so essentially, like with Among Us, I think you were like green and you were titled yourself blue. And I was like,
yeah, okay.
So the blue, green, brown one, that one. And they're like, the blue one or the one named Blue? I'm like, the blue one. It was just chaos.
When did you guys
play it's always fun to play Among Us. A while back, you weren't invited, so.
Yeah, clearly. Jesus.
No, actually, we did it when you were in the room. We just didn't want to vocalize that we were doing it. You know, we're just like, shh.
Oh, that's even worse.
But color blindness is a serious problem because like traffic lights are red and green, and it's like, man, that's got to be a problem for some people, you know?
Yeah, I'm very fortunate.
And actually, in Among Us, if you notice, they actually put little symbols on the wires now, so that people who are colorblind can still match them without having to see the color as blood. I'm trying to think of a color that doesn't match its name. I've been stalling for a while, and I still don't have any.
Cyan. I feel like, first of all, it's too specific.
Okay.
I'm like down to like 6 colors. Okay. There's like red, pink, blue, and yellow.
I was actually going to say yellow. I feel like yellow doesn't match. I feel like the Y and the W are like harsh, even though like they're probably not harsh sounds. And yellow is just such like a calm color.
I think violet should be way more aggressive.
Yeah.
More aggressive.
And I feel like red is short and like, but it's all harsh.
Yeah, like red would be a better violet, like just red.
We should just change that. Who's going to stop us?
Yeah.
Who's going to stop us?
Well, no one's been stopping me my whole life. So.
Don't regret a thing.
Wait, Val, I want to go back to the colorblind thing because I feel like I should have known this.
Yeah, like you know, just.
Have you ever tried the color correction glasses?
So I did try them. Thing is, I was like, oh, I can finally see dark brown now. That's disgusting. You know what I mean? Where I was like, oh, that's what.
So where did you find that out, Val? So where
mean?
did you find out that you could see dark brown?
Oh, it was like this fair thing, and they're like, try the colorblind glasses, and I was like, sure. And they had like a bunch of different kinds, and I like tried one of them, and it was just like, oh, that's navy blue.
Rob, I think your mind and my mind were going in the same.
Yeah, no, because I really thought he like
place.
took them into the bathroom. And
Yeah, I thought he took a shit. And
see, because some people wear those glasses.
I'm gonna take these and just close the bathroom door.
Some people take those glasses, and the first thing they see is like a beautiful sunset, and like you know the oranges and the reds and the colors. And Val just immediately looks at something dark brown and goes, "I hate it," and never.
No, but just like imagine like me taking the colorblind glasses, running to the bathroom, and just as I'm about to close the door, go, I'm finally dying to see what red looks like, and just close it.
Disgusting.
Disgusting.
It was crazy.
That is brutal. So one thing I wanted to talk about or touch on this podcast, it's something we did in last week's podcast as well. Since Tommy is clearly not here, I'll take over. But I'm interested to know what all of you guys are interested in since we're expanding the One Shot Entertainment roster, if you will. What are all of you interested in? What?
A lot of free agent signings.
A lot of free agent signings. You know, our cap space increased. Not really. There's no money involved. Let me say that up front.
Veterans
there is
minimum,
zero money involved.
International signing bonuses. I mean,
well, then where's that $9,000 I gave you, Chris Pham?
Out the
What
window.
did you do with that?
I already sent it to get you more color glasses so you can see dark brown.
Oh gosh.
again.
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 Back to what I was about to ask. What are all of your goals and hopes and what you would like to contribute to the One Shot Entertainment channel? It could be anything you want. It could be a video. It could be something we've already been making that you want to contribute to. It could be something completely new.
I mean, I'll start on this one. I just kind of wanted to help out with the team because I love working with you guys and just like good pals. But I guess like I don't know. I'd like to do some more skits and stuff, some more fun things, and just kind of like getting into it and making some more creative stuff.
I love to hear it. Rob, what about you? Or Val? Val, you look like you were ready to go. Go ahead.
It's all you, Val.
Okay. Oh, I've under the pressure, I've forgotten what I was now. I think I would much rather. I wanted to interview some more artists, and I wanted to expand my skill set, and I really wanted to work on things I hadn't worked on that much before. Like I actually all the time watch editing videos about, how to do this trick in editing, how to do that trick in editing. But the thing is, because I'm like done with all my production classes, I don't really edit. You know what I mean? Like I don't have a purpose to edit. I don't have footage to edit. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to doing some editing. I'm looking forward to doing other cool content, expanding the content we make. Yeah.
Well, oh
Good
boy,
shit.
can we give you some footage to edit, Val? Those are famous last words. I love that. Anyway,
9 hours of
piggybacking
Rob
off-
making. Okay, 9 hours of Rob making animal fart noises. I realized I cut off at making, and I could have gone in a very different direction. So,
But you still chose animal fart noises, even with the few extra seconds to think. For my answer, I'm going to say piggybacking off what they were saying, kind of just continuing the chemistry. We had a really good thing going in college in terms of ideas for skits, ideas for, different types of shows, obviously between schoolwork, other activities, personal lives, and COVID hitting us like a freight train. There's a lot that I wasn't able to accomplish. There's a lot that we weren't able to do together. So kind of just planning and, in the post-COVID world, if and when that happens, we'll hit the ground running. I have a really good, passion and interest for news. So if anyone out there wants to, hear a weekly or monthly news recap of some of my favorite stories, and also just I feel like Tommy had a really good thing going with the movie reviews. I kind of have goals and aspirations to form, if not lead, a like a movie book club. So it's like, just imagine what a book club is, but with movies.
Oh, with movies?
Yeah, but yeah, see, I thought of it myself. I was like, man, that
was good.
I should write this down, So then just kind of having a big group to discuss and talk about movies, because I've seen some good ones recently, and I've seen some like really, and even the ones that aren't considered good can sometimes still have like really good critiques and really good theories about them too. But
what are some good movies you've seen recently?
Oh, all of them. I just seen all of them. Personally, the one that I actually just saw this past week, which might actually be my favorite of 2020. It's kind of just one big blur. But if you guys ever heard of Mid-90s, directed by Jonah Hill, it's a skater movie. I actually love that a lot more than I thought I was going to.
It's a good
movie. For someone who's like never stepped on a skateboard before in his life, I really appreciated it. It's a great coming of age movie, a little bit intense, a little bit, I don't want to say it falls apart at the end. It has some things that you kind of just need to go with. But overall, I think a really good performance by, the young actors. And I think that's his directorial debut. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Jonah Hill really knocked it out of the park. I mean, in A24, you really can't go wrong with them with any type of movie. I've been doing a lot of watching a lot of theirs. I saw Hereditary, and then I followed up with I really enjoyed Midsommar. I prefer it over Hereditary, but I'm sure Val is just dying to talk about those as his two favorite movies of all time.
Hereditary is one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. I
mean, half of the Naked Brothers band, isn't it? So you can't go wrong with that.
Strong disagree that Midsommar is better, though. Strong disagree. Like the hardest disagree I could give. But
the hardest, yeah.
The hardest. Like you're getting full disagree.
Yeah, you got him. Got full disagree, Rob.
Slammed, Rob. You get slammed.
I almost said full hard. I almost said full hard. Yeah. No, Yeah, I forget what I was going to say.
Well, Val, I feel
Midsummer,
like
about how
I
it was a
feel
great
like
movie and an
you
Oscar snub.
I feel like you prefer Hereditary over Midsummer because Hereditary is more of not a traditional horror movie, but is more horror than Midsummer. Midsummer is way more tense.
Psychological, yeah.
Not even that though. Like, okay, so you guys know I'm a
You can say you
screenwriter.
hate Swedish people. It's okay.
You guys know I do not hate Swedish people. You guys know I'm a screenwriter and I screenwrite in my free time. Even from an analytical standpoint, Hereditary, from 10 minutes in, you're off. Like, you've done a lot of exposition and the characters are instantly talking to each other, developing, and the story is changing and the plot has progressed. 10 minutes in is all the setup we kind of get, maybe 15 minutes, and then we're in it. Whereas with Midsummer, I felt like 3/4 of the movie was exposition for the last quarter. I felt like not a lot of the character development went anywhere. The story, there wasn't like an ongoing suspense or like tension. I just felt like I genuinely felt like there wasn't tension.
The pacing is definitely slow. The pacing is definitely slow. However,
but not even the pacing. I just felt like there wasn't anything really there. But like, and cinematography was gorgeous. I'm not arguing that. Yeah. One of the prettiest films I've ever seen. But I just felt like it was so. Christian agrees with a lot of the points I've discussed with.
Well, it looks like Fan doesn't. So we were just teaming up. We were taking sides and settling this right now. I don't care if we were here for 2 hours. No, but for Midsummer, I almost like telling people it's not a horror movie because like the first half, like you were saying, like it has no really hints of a horror. Like it's kind of like a normal movie. There's some sad things, but it's not exactly like your typical thriller slasher. And then just kind of like slowly descends into it. And that's kind of like I like the twist. And I like But it depends what your expectations going into the movie. And I feel like that with a lot, your expectations are half of your review. But I do respect you like not enjoying it as much as.
Not even expectations. I feel like you guys are trying to like be like, oh, well, if you were expecting this. No, like I was expecting just like a deep, like kind of like, interesting film. And I just felt like 90% of the movie was explaining the cult, explaining their rituals, how they eat, how they, shit, how they this, how they do that. And like, it just got to a point where it was so much emphasis on the cult that I didn't feel like there was a story that was like really being told well. And like, there's so many parts of the cult that just didn't go anywhere. Like, they had like the deformed prophet writer that just like, what was the point of that? You know what I mean? They had like, the guy tried to steal the tablet. What was the point of that? Him trying to steal the book or whatever. You know what I mean? Like there were so many areas where I just felt like, yeah, the greed of man. But if you're going to commit to that theme, follow through. Don't just like dabble in it,
Well, they definitely finished him off.
I think for me, I came into Midsummer going off what you were saying about expectations. Like I had seen for like a full year about the tweets, and you see Pugh, I forgot her first name.
Florence.
Say it again. I'm sorry.
Florence
Pugh, like of her crying, and she has the flower crown, and been seeing people like, oh, once you see what she saw, what happened in the previous scene before that. And I was just like, oh, okay, this is going to be like really cool or whatever happens. And so we're building up to that entire time, which is the climax of the film. And it's just a very weird, I don't want to spoil it for anyone that hasn't seen it.
I do understand. And I almost feel like watching it as half of, or like most of it, like just the shock effect, like, or what's that called? The shock element of it is really most of it. But I did appreciate once again for the cinematography, just kind of for them like building the world and then tearing it apart, and just kind of like I really went in deep into it because of like the theories and stuff like that. Not to spoil it too much. Obviously, we can make a whole episode just dedicated to that, but just kind of like theories afterwards. If this happened, why this was able to happen, what happened if this wouldn't have happened, a lot of that stuff. Which once again, like I thought it was well written, but I can understand why people were upset with the pacing or upset with how certain things didn't pan out as expected.
Val, did you guys see Parasite?
Yes. Oh, I enjoyed it very much.
All right, so Val, I feel like Parasite. How do you feel about Parasite? Because Parasite is a lot of building.
Yes, but here's the thing with Parasite: all the building has a payoff, and also I didn't feel like there was any meaningless parts in Parasite. I feel like every scene in Parasite had a purpose. I feel like I could go into Midsummer and take that 2-hour movie and cut it down to maybe 30 minutes.
You should edit it. You should do a fan edit and just...
Honestly, I could literally, I'm not even kidding. I could do that and cut it down to a 30-minute thing and be fine. Whereas Parasite, every character it had a purpose, and the character had development, and the storyline always perpetuated these characters forward. It was just like, overall, there was so much forward momentum in Parasite. From, like, you know what I mean? And I felt like in Midsummer, most of the time I was just like, where is this going? Why am I watching this? This better just magically come together in the end. And of course it didn't.
I think for Midsummer, it's like building, oh, this cult's really weird. Oh, this is really weird. But as like for Parasite, if it was kind of the same tone as Midsummer, right? It would just be, oh, this family's really rich. You see how rich they are? Look at all
Yeah,
their
I can
cars.
understand that.
What? Look at this. They have this nice dog. Oh my gosh, look at how big their
Yeah.
house is. Like that's how Midsummer felt to me.
Me
And
too.
for compared to Hereditary, it's for me that was building up to a big reveal of a cult reveal, opposed to just being inside it the whole time. And granted, I don't think it looks bad or anything like that. I just prefer the storytelling of Hereditary than to Midsummer.
Yeah, and like that's the thing that I was saying about is so much of the movie is spent explaining this cult, and none of the explaining feel like it goes anywhere. And
Well,
that's
the
another
explaining
thing.
though serves a second purpose. Like I do
Yeah.
I do understand what you're saying, where they spend a lot of time explaining, but a lot of it is how the characters react to it. So there's certain people who, are shocked by what they do. There's certain people who accept it. There's certain people who disrespect the traditions and the cultures, and
Yeah,
there's
I
certain people who
feel
obviously
like
go along with it.
Rob's
I mean,
Rob
of
is
course,
on a
there's a better
good.
way to do it, but I mean, I do understand what you're saying. Whereas if you're not really caring about those characters as much, like
Rob's
their
on.
reactions to the culture doesn't really
I
make a
think this
difference.
is the thing that we kind of Val. I think we actually might have talked about this on Quarantine Catch Up with you,
Yes.
but Hereditary and Midsummer are perfectly good examples about where the viewer is supposed to be placed. Because in Midsummer, you're supposed to be a part of that group. You're supposed to view the events of and the cult as a stranger in that world, and you've
Yeah.
never seen them before. That's why there's so much explanation, and why I guess you feel that that first half of or first third of that movie
Two-thirds.
is useless and could be cut out. But it's supposed to be, that's the part I think personally, this would be my opinion, that's the purpose of the explanation, is because you're in a new area and you're in a new world and everything is supposed to be strange to you. Whereas I feel like in Hereditary, you're not a part of the family. You're a fly on the wall. You're viewing this
It's
family
interesting.
tear itself apart. And I
And
think
once again,
that
I mean, from the same director, I was able to kind of master both, because obviously we both feel strongly about our respective movies. But as you can see, we both appreciate either one or the other. So
yeah.
I mean, it might
Yeah.
not be everyone's cup of tea, but there's something you can appreciate or something you can take away from both of them.
And I think that's something, as
Yeah.
all of us who are, appreciators of visual media, it's where you then learn to understand that there are different viewpoints that the viewer can have, and how much the fourth wall is affected. If the fourth wall is supposed to be in the same level as the characters, then you're obviously going to have a different feeling than someone who is a viewer who's watching from the outside looking in. You're obviously going to have different reactions to things going on. Like, that's why another A24 film that I think does this similarly well is Uncut Gems, because you are introduced to Adam Sandler's character, as if you had never met someone like that before. And Uncut Gems has a very different feeling than Midsummer and Hereditary. That's obvious. But I think if that movie was told from the viewpoint of, you're watching Adam Sandler from like a family member's perspective, it might have a different feeling when you watch him do all the crazy shit that happens in that movie. But since we get introduced to his character as an outside perspective, you you almost sympathize with him at some points, you get pissed off at other points, you're confused, it's all the different emotions that the director is trying to portray, just from where you, the viewer, are placed within the story.
Yes, but here's the thing, and I agree 150% with that. Like, I agree that like there is a very distinct purpose to a technique like that, but that technique should not be used for 3/4 of the movie. Once you stop learning stuff about the cult is when she gets the crown, and that is 3/4 of the way in. You know what I mean? There's only like a fourth of the movie left after that
Well, that's the
point.
climax, and then it kind of all starts unraveling from there. I mean, but there's
Yeah,
certain
but
filmmakers that they have their own thing. There's certain movies that, I mean, there's always one part you might not appreciate. For me, it's the Coen Brothers. I love Coen Brothers movies up until the end, whether it's Fargo, whether it's No Country for Old Men. I believe there's one of them I'm forgetting, but I love their movies up until like the last 10 minutes and stuff like that. But you look at like other movies too. I mean, of course the times have changed, but the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I mean, the first hour and whatever minutes has no one, being killed. And, people watch it nowadays thinking they're going to watch one of the classic horror movies, of all the time. And it just takes so long to actually progress, And so, I mean, we could probably debate it all night, but there are, certain filmmakers or certain movies that you don't appreciate or that, some people might appreciate more.
And we could, but I still love the Texas Chainsaw Massacre because in that movie, even though it takes like an hour and a half for that to happen, I still felt like the story was pushing forward. Whereas
I enjoyed it
that's
the
my
second
biggest
time around
issue.
more than the first, because the first
Yes.
once again had expectations like right away, people are gonna get, people are gonna die, and then I was like just waiting and waiting and waiting, and when you're waiting for something, it feels even longer. But second time through, I'm like, okay, this is why this makes sense. Are there any other movies that you guys feel like that there's you love 99% of it, but then there's just one part that might ruin it for you, or might not be your cup of tea? Like I said, for me, it's Fargo. For me, it's No Country for Old Men. Not to spoil the endings for the viewers, but
you know what? I have a movie. It's not the end of the movie. It's the beginning of the movie. Okay. And this is because I've watched the movie so many times. But Interstellar, I do not like the first hour of that movie when they're on Earth. Like, I think it is kind of boring and
it's a long movie.
Slow and like Interstellar, that the second and third acts of that movie are just incredible to me. Like the music, the cinematography, the story, I love all of it. But the first hour of it is like, look at my farm. There we have dust storms, there's sand, and we have the Yankees in Oklahoma, I think. It's like, come on, man, I want to see black holes and shit. I want to see time travel.
Yeah, I get that.
But another great movie. I mean, beautifully done. And do you know the story about that with the cornfields and why they emphasize that so much?
No.
So Christopher Nolan actually, who directed the movie, I think bought like acres and acres and grew his own corn for the movie. Like they didn't go to a sell, like they actually bought the land and grew the corn, and then they sold it and then made money off of it.
Really?
Christopher Nolan's really interesting because obviously, I mean, Warner Brothers, he can ask for any amount of money and they'll just give it to him. But in his most recent movie, Tenet, the plane crash, the 87 plane crash was real. They didn't use CGI for it.
They actually blew up that plane.
They blew up the plane because they did the math and it would have cost more to do CGI than it would have to just blow up the plane. So Christopher Nolan's one of those guys. I mean, and even with the stuff with Dunkirk, I'm sure a lot of that was practical effects too. Like he's just one of those great filmmakers. And once again, even Inception, the whole
Did he really flip a hotel?
He did. He took a hallway. He took a hallway and got like
I saw
a
this.
machine.
I saw this.
And you look at the behind the scenes, like this contraption that it's incredibly made. Of course, you could just do camera tricks and special effects, but not for old Chris Nolan, not for old Chrissy.
No, he's on practical effects like that.
Yeah.
And he blew up an actual old World War II plane in Dunkirk and just paid for that. And I think the thing about the corn, it kind of makes sense when they're like driving through fields. I felt bad for whose ever farm that was, that they just destroyed their crops. But if it's their own crops, then I guess it works.
And then once again, I'm not sure if he used it for another movie or not, but he definitely harvested it and sold it and like made a profit off of what he bought it for, which is just wild that,
Back to the question of a movie that you love but hate one part of. Glass. The movie Glass, the sequel to Unbreakable and Split.
M. Night Shyamalan's hit or miss.
Yeah, but here's the frustrating part: is I really enjoyed 2/3 of Glass. That ending, though, and it was actually I think I spoke about this in my Catching Up podcast, where I said the Glass taught me that one of the most important lessons a screenwriter can learn, and that is that the last act of a movie is the most important, is because it's what you're left with. So
that movie taught you that?
Well, it's the end of a trilogy as well. You have to remember, I mean, of course, Unbreakable came out in the early 2000s with Bruce Willis, and then Split, which with I think James McAvoy, if I'm not mistaken, and then they ended the trilogy, which is a very odd trilogy to have that, over a long time span. And you thought Split was a standalone, then it was in the universe. But I haven't seen Glass yet, so I'd appreciate you not to spoil the whole thing, but I
I
can't
won't
imagine,
spoil
like,
it.
M. Night Shyamalan not having a good ending. Who could have predicted this?
Yeah, and also another tiny gripe with that movie was we've waited 20 years to see an Unbreakable sequel. We've waited 3 years to see a Split sequel, and it was way more of a Split sequel than it was an Unbreakable sequel.
I'm
So,
sure.
but
Well,
yeah,
that's
it
what
was
happens when you shoehorn a character into a movie idea.
yeah.
That just didn't make sense because they're both just great movies by themselves.
Yeah.
And I think I'll put Split for that. I mean, there's no reason to try to make that into the Unbreakable universe.
Yeah.
And because it's just a very good movie on its own. So I'll put that as my answer for this question.
Speaking of odd trilogies, did you hear Leonardo DiCaprio's recent comments?
No, what?
That he thinks 3 of the movies that he starred in is like an unofficial trilogy for him. It's The Wolf of Wall Street, Django Unchained, and I'm blanking on the third movie right now. The Great Gatsby. Thank you so much. And it's like a trilogy of like American wealth and like the this idea of like the American millionaire or billionaire. Because in all 3 of those movies, he's played like an absolutely rich, out of his mind character that through various events has a fall, has a turning, or kind of falls on him in the end. And it's kind of like the theme of American greed. So I'd love to hear what you guys think about that. I'm not sure how you feel about Leonardo DiCaprio as an actor, or even those movies, because obviously I want to say 3 very different directors, 3 very different styles, between Great Gatsby, Wolf of Wall Street, and Django Unchained. I mean,
Well, I also love that they all take place in their own time periods.
yeah, exactly.
Like I would even that's well.
It's got you thinking, because obviously like Scorsese, Quentin Tarantino, and whoever directed The Great Gatsby are 3 very different directors.
I'll say this. I've said this before multiple times, and sometimes I get shit for this. Django is my favorite Tarantino movie, hands
Really?
down.
Same.
Hands down.
I don't
And
think that.
we get shit for it all the time when we tell people, like, no way. But like, in my opinion, I've felt the most connected to every single character in that movie. The way that those characters were written were just believable, dynamic characters. It's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think, back to Rob's comment.
Yes.
I find it interesting because all 3 of those different ideas of wealth are from not entirely their own. I would say Wolf of Wall Street is really the only money where he earns that money himself, whereas Django Unchained, he's clearly a slave owner and is a terrible human being. And then Great Gatsby, he inherits a lot of wealth, but he does, like, yes, he earns a lot of money on his own, but he also inherited the house or not the house, but he inherited money from that guy that he learned how to sail with, right? So it's like, and then in Wolf of Wall Street, even then, like, he is not a scam artist, but he does a lot of illegal things.
Yeah. He obviously made his way on the backs of I want to say hundreds of thousands of people, and then
Penny stocks.
on penny stocks. Yeah, but it's also interesting. You give a man power, and Django, you give a man money in Great Gatsby, and you kind of like get a man who built himself up through one way or the other. Kind of 3 different.
I like that. I like that
character.
idea of like adding movies to like a technical series based on their ideology or like their theme, because you could do that with a good amount of movies dependent on like what the central theme is for all of them. Like I would love if Jaws and like Jurassic Park were in the same theme. Like if they were in the same universe.
Spielberg.
Honestly, like that would, if they were in the same universe, that'd be crazy. Like turns out Jaws is just
Never
a
say never.
megalodon. It's just a megalodon.
I was about to say Jaws is like a megalodon. Wow.
Park.
I would love to see like just character crossovers. That'd be wild too.
Yeah.
But who can name a character in Jurassic World? I mean, one of the most highest, grossing
Ed Goldblum
films of all time, and yet
Ed Goldblum?
Yeah, wait a minute. We got to go back to what Val said. Val, what did you just say?
Ed Goldblum, the guy in like he's in the truck. He's got a broken leg.
The apartments.com guy?
Yeah.
Ed Goldblum?
Yes. Why are you making this weird?
Because his name's not
Ed, dude.
Ed Goldblum. Yeah.
Are you talking about the character?
He's
No,
talking about
the
the actor Jeff Goldblum, who plays like
Shit. Well, okay. It kind of
Watching Val so confidently
I was like, why are you making this weird?
Reinforce the idea that it's Ed Goldblum.
It's Ed. No, it's Jeff Goldblum. Fuck.
Jeff Goldblum. Continue.
Jeff Goldblum, and the guy with the cowboy hat. You know him?
Sam
I'm talking
Neill.
about Jurassic World. Well, which you guys are going Jurassic?
No. The Jurassic Park. The guy with the cowboy hat. He was a homie. I think it's just me naming Jurassic Park characters at this point, but
You're not. You're naming actors.
I'm talking about Chris Pratt's movies. But I was thinking about a theory the other day that when actors are able to be in all these different types of movies without audiences ever getting tired of them because they play a type of character, they don't play a character.
Yeah.
And I use the example of like Han Solo or
Harrison Ford,
being able to go to so many different roles, but then Mark Hamill was kind of stuck in the Luke Skywalker because he was like always known as Luke Skywalker, whereas Harrison Ford was able to play like a type. You look at Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I mean, he plays, if you need a big strong man, there's actually a funny thing online where they just show you his shirt from the movie. You have to guess which movie it is, and they're just all identical because it's just like a sweaty T-shirt, a sweaty jungle shirt, a sweaty cargo shirt, and you really can't name them all. Where some people are just always that one character, except they play a memorable, or a famous character or superhero or something like that. They kind of get typecasted. So it's kind of interesting to see how some of the greatest box office movies of all time, like Jurassic World, you really can't name Chris Pratt's character, so he's kind of has the free pass to go and be in other movies, whereas other things like even like Harry Potter, like Daniel Radcliffe will always be Harry Potter, even if he's on other movies. Like, oh no, that's the actor from Harry Potter.
Yeah, I never thought about that, but you're right. That's a good point.
Well, that's like Avatar, one of the highest grossing movies of all time. Nobody can name a single character in that film.
Jake Sully. And that's it.
All right. Well, I think we about hit our time here. This was definitely interesting. We went all over the spectrum.
We took the rundown. We just ripped it to shreds.
It's the same. It's the same effing thing that happened last week. I have a whole rundown set, and it just never gets touched upon. But then all of you are always like, "Oh, we're doing a video. Oh, do we have a rundown? Can I see the rundown?" And I make a rundown, and then you guys are like, "Let's talk about everything but the rundown." I'm like,
we just want to give you more work, fam. Haven't you realized that?
Oh yeah, I already work a bunch, and then I make rundowns because I love making videos. And you guys are like, let me spit on this.
And Val will edit it for you now. He already offered, so
Val did it. Yeah, but I'm gonna get like 3 different of the same fucking of the same program files, and they're all going to be different colors, and there's going to be weird jump cuts in between. It's going to be super stylistic
for some reason.
Yeah,
I'm going to CGI Ed Goldblum behind me, just rubbing
for some reason. Ed Goldblum.
Ed Goldblum is going to be CGI'd behind me.
And for all you fans out there, if you guys have any video files that need editing, just email Val. Just email in the link down below, and just send it to him.
My personal phone number is 505.
If you want to reach out to him, we'll have his phone number. We'll set him up with a fax machine, so if he doesn't get that,
the last 4 digits of my social security number.
You just have to put them all together like a flip book. He'll fax you a 1 frame at a time.
Yeah. That would be the funniest thing if I edited a full video and then exported every single frame and just like sent them 9,000 frames for like a 2-minute.
You gotta use your $20 worth of prints while you can.
Oh God.
All right. Okay. We're going to call it there. This was a wonderful second version. I don't know why I'm keeping track. There's going to be a bunch.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I like your headband. I like that you also said before the podcast, you're afraid your hair was going to blend in to the curtain behind you, of which a color you can't even see.
I was scared because like I might look bald because it's the same color.
It's not.
Nah.
But how could you know? You can't see dark brown. Okay, all right, we're gonna end it there. For myself, Chris Famularo, for Robert Ruszkowski, Christian Gardner, Valentino Petrarca. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to subscribe to One Shot Entertainment. In the comments, let us know who would win in a fight, Remi or Chuck E. Cheese, and please keep a lookout for the next video. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day.
Good luck, Charlie.